Shabbat Shalom, happy Sabbath. Today is the Feast of Tabernacles, Sukkot. Yah, in years gone past, had made it clear that he wants his people to meet with him at certain times during the year. In fact, he had made it known in Tehillim, that's the book of Psalms, that he wants us to do that and to make a joyful noise unto Yah, because he's the one who sustained us and he's the one who keeps us. And indeed, in the book of Dibrey, that's Deuteronomy chapter 16, and verse 16, he says, 3 times a year, all your males appear before Yahweh, your Elohim, in the place which he chooses at the festival of Matzot, that's Passover, and at the festival of Shabbat, that's the Feast of Weeks, Pentecost, and at the festival of Sukkot, that's today. And none should appear before Yahweh empty-handed, each one with the gift of his hand, according to the Baruchah, the blessings of Yahweh, your Elohim, which he has given to you. So it is mandated that, yes, people would meet with him 3 times a year, and it's for all generations of people. So when I hear people say they're done away with, I ask them the question, at whose command? At whose command? This morning we want to look at the book of Jeremiah the prophet, who is called to speak to the children of Judah, because they had backslidden. They had stopped keeping the festivals. They had stopped keeping the Shabbat and were following the teachings of false prophets. So Yirmiyahu, that's his Hebrew name. If we anglicize him, we call him Jeremiah, is called. And Jeremiah was about 20 years old at the time. It's a young man. Is from the tribe of Benjamin. And he recognized, like we should, our own inadequacies. He says to Yah, I'm a young man, and you're sending me to a people who are, in essence, intellectual heavyweights. They know the law. But Yah said to him, don't worry about them at all, because I will put word in your mouth. And as you read through the book of Jeremiah, you see that the people hated him. They considered his teachings repugnant. And so they responded to him in a kind of ad hominem way, in that they did not look at the substance of his teaching, but they responded to him by attacking his character and his person. That's what they did. And so it was an awesome task. This man, this prophet, was tasked with the responsibility of going to his own people and pointing out their sins. Call them to repentance, and if they didn't repent, judgment would come on them. The irony is not lost here. And I'll show you what I mean. Come with me to Jeremiah chapter 8, and we will take a few verses. Verse 6, I have listened and heard. They do not speak right. No man has repented of his evil. That's the kind of people he was dealing with. Saying, what have I done? They all turned to their own course like a horse rushing into battle. Even a stork in the Shemahim, the heavens, knows her appointed times. The stork, a turtle dove, and the swallow and the thrush guard the time of their coming. But my people, Judah, Israel, they do not know the right time. Are you with me? The birds, they know the appointed time, but the people do not know the appointed times, because in Bereshit, Genesis 1 and verse 14, Yah said, I have made the stars, the sun and the moon, as signs of my appointed times. The birds know my appointed times, but not the human beings. How sad. And so Yah used the agricultural situation to teach the lessons of salvation to his people. And so as we read through this, you will see that the festivals had come to an end. You see, our subject this morning is the Festival of Ingathering. It's the end of the year, the end of the harvest. And because of their decision not to follow Yah, their crops had failed. And they were looking for answers external to their situation, but not looking within themselves. They externalized the problem. Yah wanted them to look internally, introspectively, and come to an understanding that the things that were happening to them were because they had turned away from him. Listen to what Jeremiah says. Come with me to verse 20 of chapter 8. The word says that the harvest is past. The harvest is past. The summer is ended. And we are not saved. They did not keep Passover. They did not come to the day of judgment, which is Yom Kippur. And today they did not come to tabernacles. The festivals have gone. The harvests are through. And the summer, it's the end of the year, the end of the agricultural season with harvest. Today is the start of the fruit harvest. That's why the Bible said you must produce fruits. The grain harvest took place, but now it's the fruit harvest. And the people are not saved. So let's look at it, because truth has to be existentially relevant. That's why I said that the irony is not lost at all. The people are aware of this. They know what their requirements are. The people in Jeremiah's time, they did not keep the festivals as they ought to. They were focusing on their wealth, money. People today say, well, I can't keep these things because I have to work. Yah says 6 days you should work. And on the seventh day, you rest. He told that to Adam. Adam was made on the sixth day. He had not done any work, but he still had to rest on the seventh day. You rest. And he said, you ought to keep all my festivals, because they are a sign between me and you. When you keep the Shabbat and when you keep the festival, you declare unto others and declare unto me, you have a covenant with me. If you break them, you break the covenant. You are not covered outside of the covenant. That's the word of Yah. The harvest is past. The summer is ended, and the people are not saved. You just think today the millions of people who are in churches all over the world who did not keep these. And Jeremiah is letting Judah know, you're not saved. Jeremiah was the last prophet to preach to Judah before they went into captivity. The last of the prophets. And so I would like for you to join me in the first portion of Jeremiah. We're going to spend a little while in this book, Yirmiyahu, today. Chapter 1. Come there with me. The words of Yirmiyahu, the son of Hilkiyahu of the Kohanim, the priest, who were in Anathoth in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of Yahweh came in the days of Yoshiyahu, son of Ammon, sovereign of Yehudah, in the 13th year of his reign. And it came in the days of Jehoiakim, son of Yoshiyahu, sovereign of Yehudah, until the end of the 11th year, the word came to Jeremiah, saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, and before you came out of the womb, I kodesh you, I blessed you. I appoint you a Nabi to nations. Did you get that? Jeremiah, before you were born, before you were even conceived, before you came into human protoplasm, I appointed you to be a prophet to the nations. Jeremiah is crying out, I am too young for this. Yah said, I appointed you before you even got into the womb. Wow. And verse 6 says, and I said, O Adonai, Yahweh, see, I do not know how to speak, for I am a youth. You know, sometimes we feel the weight of our own inadequacies to the extent we think, I have nothing to offer. It's true, we may not have much to offer, but we have a lot to learn. And Yahweh said to me, do not say I am a youth, but go to all to whom I send you and speak whatever I command you. Do not fear their faces, for I am with you to deliver you, declares Yahweh. Don't fear them. Notice where he's sending them. He's sending him to the priest and the leaders in the temple. This is trouble for Jeremiah. Like today, you speak to the bishop or the pastor, and they want to give you a hard time. Yes, don't worry about what they will say. Then Yahweh put forth his hand and touched my mouth, and Yahweh said to me, see, I have put my words in your mouth. See, I have this day appointed you over the nations and over the reigns, to root out and to pull down, to destroy, to overthrow, to build, and to plant. You know, sometimes when you're building something, you have to tear down that was there in the first place. Do that, Jeremiah. Do that. And it doesn't matter how they come at you. I am there with you, Jeremiah. Because if they don't listen to you, Jeremiah, I'm going to invite Nebuchadnezzar to come up and besiege the city and take them into captivity. It's time now for them to repent, even as it's time for the people in the churches to repent, because they're not keeping the laws. Remember the seventh day to keep it holy. Remember the feast days. They're not done away with. They are for all generations of people. Tell them, Jeremiah. Go right in there into the temple and tell them. The word said, they threw Jeremiah in a pit. Had it not been for the Ethiopian Ebed-Melech to go down into the pit and take him out, what would have happened to that prophet? So you see, we as a people, we can trace our lineage, our faith, by way of historical antecedents. We have people who are like us, who have been with the faith and have expressed their faith. And we see that in the scriptures. Jeremiah, go and speak to them. Verse 13, and the word of Yah came to me a second time, saying, what do you see? And I said, I see a boiling pot, and it is facing the north. And Yahweh said to me, out of the north evil let loose on all the inhabitants of the land. What do you see? A boiling pot. I see Nebuchadnezzar coming, because the people are not repenting. And the people in the churches today, they're not repenting. So evil is coming. We spoke, a few days ago about the time of Jacob's trouble, like no other nation has seen. For look, I am calling all the clans of the reigns of the north, declares Yahweh, and they shall come, and each one put his throne at the entrance of the gates of Jerusalem, against all its walls all around, and against all the cities of Yehuda. I'm going to do that. Jeremiah, just go and tell them. Even if they don't believe you, tell them. Tell them. So Jeremiah went. And perhaps it's a good time now to join me in chapter 7. The word that came to Yahoo, that's Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, stand in the gate of the house of Yahweh. Go there. You do that today, they call the police. And you shall proclaim there this word, and shall say, hear the word of Yahweh, all you of Yehuda, who enter in at these gates to bow before Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, make your ways and your deeds good, then I let you dwell in this place. Do not trust in false words, saying, this is the echo of Yahweh. That's what the people do today. Oh, this is a temple of Yah. This is the house of Yah. Yah said, tell them not to trust in those fable words. Tell them. For if you truly make your ways and your deeds good, if you truly do right ruling between a man and his neighbor, if you do not oppress the stranger, America, the fatherless and the widows, and do not shed innocent blood in the place, or walk after other mighty ones to your own evil, then shall I let you dwell in this place and the land that I gave to your fathers forever and ever. Don't do that. But the people kept saying, this is the house of Yah. This is the house of Yah. And Yah is saying, you're still stealing, verse 9. You're still murdering and committing adultery. We're told that 50% of marriages will end in a divorce in the church, just as in the world. You're still doing that. These are abomination unto Yah. They send the stench to his nostrils. Tell them, Jeremiah, even as we ought to tell people today, to live righteously. You're burning incense to Baal. Yah said, don't call me Baal. Call me Yahweh. Don't call him Lord. He's not a British baron. God, that's the Canaanite way. Don't call me that, he says in Hosea. Call me your husband. Tell them, Jeremiah. And you came and stood before me in this house, which is called by my name. He's talking now about the temple that Solomon built. He said, you come here each week, and you come here during the festival. This is a temple that was built for me, where my name is, and you said, we have been delivered. People leave church and they say, what a great day it was. We had a great time. In order to do all these abominations. That's what you come for. As this house, which is called by my name, become a den of robbers? Are you with me? You're withholding my tithe, says Malachi, and my offerings? Look, even I myself have seen it, declares Yahweh. And so the people were boasting in their religions and their churches, the edifices and the stained glass window, how beautiful it was. But Yah was not impressed. Not at all. Oh, this church has 500 members. On a day like this in Jerusalem, Josephus say that there about 3 million people would gather to worship. But Yah was no longer impressed with them. Listen to what he says. Jeremiah chapter 7 and verse 12. But go now to my place at Shiloh, where I put my name at first, and see what I did to it because of the evil of my people Israel. Go there. Go there and look at that place where Eli was priest, where the Philistine took the ark of the covenant. Go there and look. My name was there at one time, but it's no longer there. I tore it down. Go there and look. If Yah was speaking to us in these contemporary times, you know what he would say? He would say, go and look at the old St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Go and look. It was destroyed by fire in 1666. So go and look. My name was there, but I tore it down by fire. He would say, go and look at the Mormon temple in Nauvoo, Illinois, which was destroyed by fire in 1848. And again in 1850 by tornado. Go and look. He would say that. He would say, Go and look at York Minster Cathedral in the city of York. When Dr. David Jenkins declared in 1980s that he no longer believed, or he doesn't believe in the virgin birth or the resurrection. Go and look there. And yet, he was blessed there in that, consecrated in that cathedral by Dr. Hopgood. And 3 days after he was consecrated, lightning struck that cathedral, one of Europe's most Gothic cathedrals. Took £2.25 million to rebuild that cathedral. Go and look. I think he would say, go and look in Battle Creek, Michigan, where the Adventist sanitarium was that was destroyed by fire when Dr. Kellogg tried to print his book and was told not to print his book. Go and look again at the Adventist dime tabernacle. In its heyday, it would house about 4,000 members, destroyed by fire. Today, only foundation stones. Go and look. Go and look. All these churches destroyed by fire. And he's putting the people, directing them, go and look at Shiloh, what I did to it. But you see, our insular thoughts is such that we don't see what Yah is doing. We don't see what that invisible end is doing in our lives. Just like Belshazzar, that bloodless end that wrote on the wall saying, "Mene, mene, tekel upharsin, you have been weighed on the ballot and you are found wanting." Go and look. And so we're told that this cathedral in York Minster, England, it was destroyed on the 9th of July, 1984. Interestingly, this would have been the 6th day of Tammuz. 6th day of Tammuz, the 4th month of the year. And every year, the 17th of Tammuz, the Hebrew people, they have a fast. Why? They're fasting for the destruction of the first and the second temple that was destroyed on the same day, 9th of Av, which different year. And it was, interestingly, the same day that Moses came down of the Mount Sinai and broke the tablet, 17th of Tammuz. So when we go to Ezekiel chapter 8, and he took Ezekiel and showed Ezekiel, he said, see, the people are weeping for Tammuz. The people, the members, the ladies, the women, they're weeping for Tammuz. Who's Tammuz? The son of Semiramis and Nimrod. He was the one who was born in December the 25th. And so the point is, Jeremiah wants the people to know that Yah wants his laws to be kept. He will warn you for a certain time. You're under grace. Yes, you're under grace. But why do you need grace if you did not break the law? You go to court, for example, for speeding. You were driving 60 miles in a 40-mile zone. Go to court, the judge looks at you and said, I've looked at your record and I see that you've never been in trouble before. So I'm going to give you grace this morning. I'm not going to find you. So you come out of court with grace. Does that mean you go on sinning, driving at 60 miles an hour in a 40-mile zone? No, you come out and you're more aware of the law of the land that you have just broken, but you were given grace. But people think that grace is a license to continue doing wrong. They think that. And so it interests me when the fire took place in York Minster, the English London Times, in an editorial, said this: a bolt from heaven the very night after the bishop preached in defense of his Durham appointment before the Assembly of Synod. It is hard not to be reminded of Elijah and the priest of Baal. This is a secular newspaper writing this at the time. But the church didn't see this. And this morning, we want you to know when Yah says, keep my commandments, he means it. And so come with me to the book of Zekaryah, chapter 14. Because it always interests me when people tell me these things are done away with. And we will take verse 16. And it shall be that all who left from all the Gentiles which came up against Jerusalem shall go up from year to year. From when? To bow themselves to the sovereign Yahweh of hosts, to celebrate the festival of Sukkot. That's tabernacle. That's today. Notice this. This is in the millennium. They said it's done away with. Yah said no. Verse 17. And it shall be that if any one of the clans of the earth does not come up to Jerusalem to bow himself to the sovereign Yahweh of hosts, on them there is to be no rain. And if the clan of Mitzrayim, that's Egypt, does not come up and enter in, then there is none. On them is the plague. What? If you don't keep the Feast of Tabernacle, there will be a plague with which Yahweh plagues the Gentile who do not come up to celebrate the festival of Sukkot. You get a plague. And that plague may well manifest itself in some physical disease. A plague. That's a defilement. You don't take that to the doctor. He can't medicate that. That's a defilement. We've got to understand that. So everybody will have to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Let's look at Shiloh. Let's look at Shiloh. Come with me to the book of Shemuel. That's Samuel. And we will take chapter 3. Now the boy Samuel was ministering unto Yahweh before Eli, and the word of Yahweh had become rare. In those days, there was no well-known vision. But it came to pass at the time when Eli was lying down in his place, his eyes having begun to be dim, he could not see. Remember, prophecy is cyclical. It's not linear. So if you understand what is happening here, you'll understand what is going to happen in the end time, the now time. Here is a priest, his eyes are dim. This is the physical. The physical always comes before the spiritual. In the end time, it's going to be, they're going to have dim spiritual eyes. They're not going to be able to understand the word of Yah. Despite the many times that they go to churches each week, if they speak not according to the word, Isaiah 8 and verse 20, there is no light in them. Though the lamp of Elohim was not yet put out. When you go to Revelation 18 and verse 23, you see the lamp's gone out. Though the lamp was not yet put out, and Samuel was lying down in the temple of Yahweh, where was the ark of Elohim, that Yahweh called unto Samuel, and he said, Behold me, here I am. So he ran unto Eli, said, Behold me, for thou callest me. And he said, I called not, return, lie down. So he went and lay down. Now, understand what's happening here. Eli is the priest. Samuel is a young boy. But because of the abominations that were taking place in the temple, Yah was not on speaking term with the priest. He's not speaking to him. Sometimes we think that Yah has some degree of favoritism to the mega churches, the big churches. And he only speaks through those mediums. Here is a young boy, not yet known Yah, but Yah is speaking to him, calling him, and ignoring the priest. You see, when the Spirit of Yah leaves a place, my question to you, what are you doing there? Yah walked out of the temple in Jerusalem and said, your house is left unto you desolate. And 70 AD, some 37 years later, the people were still going there each week. He said, I'm gone. Ezekiel said, I saw the Ruach, I saw the Spirit left and went up onto the threshold. So why are you going there if the Spirit is not there? And people are claiming to be remnant. And so 3 times Yah called this young man. And Eli realized that his not getting any vision from Yah, the word said at this particular time, the word of Yah was rare. It was not common. Yah was not speaking to anybody. He just didn't like what was happening in his place of worship. So the children of Israel recognized something. You better come with me to chapter 4. And so it was when the word of Samuel had reached all Israel that Israel went forth to meet the Philistine to battle and encamped near Ebenezer, while the Philistine encamped at Aphek. And the Philistines set themselves in array to meet Israel. And when the battle spread, then was Israel smitten before the Philistine, and they were slain of the army in the field, about 4,000 men. So they say, you know what? The Israelites are giving us a hard time. Let's go and get the ark, as if the ark is some kind of a lucky charm for them. Let's bring it out. And so they did. And so it was when the ark, verse 5, of the covenant of Yahweh came into the camp, that all Israel break out in a loud shout of joy, so that the earth rang again. They're happy. We bring the ark out, so something is going to happen. Yah is going to give them a good hiding. That's what they thought. And when the Philistine heard the noise of the shout, they said, "What meaneth the noise of this loud shout of joy in the camp of the Hebrews?" And they learned that the ark of Yahweh had come into the camp. And the Philistine fought, we're told. Verse 10. And Israel was smitten, and they fled every man to his own, and the slaughter became exceeding great. And there fell in Israel 30,000 footmen, and the ark of Elohim was taken, and 2 sons of Eli were slain, Hophni and Phinehas. Did you hear that? The priest died. Because Peter told us, did he not, in 1 Peter 4:17, judgment starts in the house of Yah. Repent. That was Jeremiah's message. And the people, instead of repenting, they threw him in a pit. Today, it doesn't matter how you speak to people. You send them emails, and you send them WhatsApp. You send them messages on Zoom and elsewhere. They don't even have the common courtesy to say, "I've received it." But this is what's coming. This is what's coming. And the word says that when Eli heard that his sons had died, that was one thing. The word said he was 98 years old, and his eyes were fixed that he could not see. And someone now was running to come and tell him what had transpired during the battle between the Philistines and the children of Israel. So the man said unto Eli, "I am he that came in from the army. Yea, I am from the army, fled today." And he said, "What is this thing that had happened, my son?" And the bearer of the tidings answered and said, "Israel had fled before the Philistine. Moreover, also, a great smiting had taken place among the people. Moreover, also thy 2 sons are slain, Hophni and Phinehas, and the ark of Elohim is taken." Did you hear that? The ark. And it came to pass when he mentioned the ark, it's as if it's all right, I can survive. I can recover from my 2 sons. You kind of get that impression. But when he heard that the ark of Elohim had been taken, then he fell from his seat backwards to reflect his condition, backslidden, at the side of the gate, and his neck break. And he died. For old was the man, and heavy. He had judged Israel 40 years. Now his daughter-in-law, wife of Phinehas, was with child. She was pregnant at the time this happened, ready to give birth. And when she heard the tidings as to the taking of the ark of Elohim and the death of her father-in-law and her husband, did you get that? You see what's happening in one day? She bowed herself and gave birth. The news induced labor, for her pains had seized her. Labor was induced by anxiety. And about the time of her death, the woman that stood by her said, "Do not fear, for to a son hast thou given birth." But she neither answered nor regarded. And she called the boy Ichabod, meaning the glory has gone. Ichabod. Where is the glory? Saying exile is the glory from Israel in regards to the taking of the ark of Elohim, and to her father-in-law and to her husband. So she said, exile is the glory from Israel, for the ark of Elohim has been taken. So let's reason together. In the time of Eli, the ark was taken. But we know that you and I are now under a different covenant. We read that in Luke chapter 22. And we're made to understand that a covenant has to be, it must be an offer and an acceptance. Two elements to a contract. I offer you this, you accept it, we have a deal. Yah said in Mount Sinai in chapter 19, verse 5 and 6, if you obey me, you will be unto me a kingdom of priests. The children of Israel said, and remember, it's a mixed multitude. Some of them were not born in Israel. Most of them were born in Egypt. But when you accept the laws of Yah and you baptize in Yeshua, you are an Israelite. So thereafter, they were referred to as the children of Israel. They said, everything that Yah said, we will do. So he came down on Mount Sinai, chapter 20, and he spoke morality to the people. Thou shalt have no other Yah but me. Don't do that. Don't commit adultery. Don't steal. Remember the seventh day to keep it holy. Are you with me? So let me ask you, Yeshua, on that night that he drank that cup and ate that meal, he said, this is my body. Drink it. This is the new covenant. But I'm not going to write it on tablets of stone anymore. I'm going to put it in your heart. Did you get that? The ark of the covenant was stolen by the Philistines because the people were behaving abominable. But you who have the ark of the covenant in your heart, you said you're not keeping his law. Which Philistine have you? You have been captured by the Philistine and don't even know it. Perhaps you have Philistine in your pulpit telling you they're done away with. The laws are in your heart. That's what the word tells us, that we ought to keep the laws of Yah, and the people are saying, we're not keeping them. In Revelation 14, we are told, remember to worship Yah. An angel from mid-heaven came down and declared that we ought to worship him. And the people saying, we got to go to work, we got to go to school, we got to do all the things that Yah said not to do. But they have the ark in their heart. Do you get that? They say to us, as they said to Jeremiah, we don't want to do these things. So by this time, Jeremiah is so, frustrated because he's preaching and no one is listening. How would you feel? Come with me to chapter 20 of Jeremiah. Verse 7. Jeremiah now in anxiety, he's frustrated, people are not listening to him. He says, "Thou didst persuade me, O Yahweh, and I was persuaded. Thou didst lay firm hold of me and didst prevail. I am become a mockery. All the day, everyone is laughing at me. For as often as I speak, I make outcry, violence and wasting I proclaim, yea, the word of Yahweh hath become to me a reproach and derision all the day." My emails, sermons, WhatsApp, to many, they mean nothing. But it has never entered into the insular parts of their thoughts that this might well be Yah's work. And one day their own conscience will testify against them. Jeremiah in verse 9 says, "Therefore I say I will not mention him, neither will I speak any more of his name. But then it becometh in my heart as a fire that burneth, shut up in my bones, and I am weary of restraint and cannot refrain." You've ever been to the point in life where you just feel fed up? You don't feel like doing anymore. Oh, I'm sending these messages out, and people don't even respond. Kind of a Jeremiah-ish. Jeremiah is the way he did things has brought a new word into the English language called Jeremiad. To be Jeremiad mean that you're a person who brings, news that is always mournful. That's what Jeremiad mean. You bring this woeful music and messages to people, and they don't want that. And sometimes you just feel, well, I'm not sending any emails anymore. But the word says, and the word of Yah is like a fire in my bone. How can I stop it? I can't, says Jeremiah. I can't. I can't turn away from it because Yohanan 17:17 says, "Sanctify them by thy truth. Thy word is true." So the people say, these things are done away with. And they quote Colossians. Come there with me. Colossians chapter 2. And they say that these things have been blotted out. Verse 14, "Having blotted out the handwriting against us by the dogmas which stood against us, and he has taken it out of the way, having nailed it to the stake, to the cross." You heard that story, that phrase, that argument? The laws have been nailed to the cross, so we don't have to keep them again. We're on the grave. Listen to what it says. It says, handwriting. Yah wrote the commandment with his own finger, not man's handwriting. Verse 15, "Having stripped the principalities and the authorities, he made a public display of them, having prevailed over them in it. Let no one therefore judge you." He said, once you start doing these things and accepting them, don't let anyone judge you. you're now eating and drinking or respect of the festival. Did you hear? He said, now that you're doing the festival and you're behaving like a Judean, you're behaving like an Israelite. That's what Israelites do. That's what Judeans do. They keep the festival. Don't let anyone judge you. When you go to Galatians, he said, you foolish Galatians, chapter 3. Don't let the Galatians of this era judge you for keeping them. Don't let that happen. They're not done away with. He said, I have not come to destroy what the prophets wrote, but to magnify them. And so the people are speaking with twin tongues. Their spoken theology is not the same as their lived religion. And that's what Jeremiah was trying to teach the people, that the summer is gone. The harvest passed. Passover is gone. Pentecost is gone. Shavuot, and you did not show up. You did not come to the day of Yom Kippur. You did not come to the day of judgment when all the records are looked at. Your deeds are looked at. When Yah judges the whole church, you did not come. You are in contempt of court. And the people's pastors and their bishops said, you don't have to keep them. You don't have to keep them. The question is, did Yeshua keep them? Yes. Did Paul keep them? Yes. Did John the Baptist keep them? Yes. Did Jeremiah keep them? Yes. Did Isaiah keep them? Yes. After Yeshua ascended, did the apostles keep them? Yes. So where did you get your idea from? If you speak not according to the word of Yah, there is no truth in you. Where did you get it from? Oh, they say the law is done away with. They don't get it. They have not yet made the distinction between the book of the law and the book of the covenant. The book of the covenant is the Ten Commandments. Yah said, put that in the heart. Put it inside. But the book of the law, which is Deuteronomy, put it beside. And you read Deuteronomy 31 and verse 26, you see it at the side. Make that distinction. So when the Apostle Paul said the law is done away with, he's not talking about the Ten Commandments. He's talking about the Levitical laws that were relating to the killing of animals and so on. And circumcision. We don't have to circumcise now. We don't have to remove the foreskin. It is circumcision of the heart. You don't have to kill any animals now. Yeshua is the ultimate sacrifice. We've got to understand that. But when you read 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 7, Paul said, but we got to keep the feasts, but not how we used to keep them, not with malice and with pride. And so Jeremiah wants us to know that the harvest is past and the summer is ended, and the majority of the people are not saved. And yet they say, we are the remnant. You go down the road, oh, this is a true church. The true church having the wrong message? How do you work that out? And another one said, oh, we are the chosen. Another one said, we are the 144,000. I don't know how they pre-select themselves. I don't get it. But you better join me now as we bring this thing to a close. Revelation, the book of Chizayon. And you're going to join me in chapter 12. And perhaps let's meditate a little on verse 7. And there came to be fighting, war in the Shemaim. There's war in heaven. The war didn't just start in Ukraine or Gaza. It started in heaven and ended up down here. Michael and his messengers fought against the dragon. Who is the dragon? Satan. And the dragon and his messengers fought, but they were not strong enough, nor was a place found for them in the Shemaim any longer. They were thrown out. And the great dragon was thrown out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, leads all the world astray, including the church. Who leads all the world astray, he was thrown to the earth, and his messengers were thrown out with him. Come with me to verse 12. Because of this, rejoice, O ye Shemaim, you who dwell in them. Woe to who? The earth and the sea, because the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, knowing that he has little time. Come with me now to 17. And the dragon was enraged with the woman. Notice the woman here is symbolic of the church, the assembly. According to Jeremiah 6 and verse 2, I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. So he says the dragon is enraged with the church. Which church? And he went to fight with the remnant, not all the churches, just the remnant of her seed, those guarding the commandments of Yahweh and possessing the weakness of Yahweh, Amashiach. Only those people who keep the commandment, keep the Sabbath and the feast day. He says the devil is enraged with them, not the others. He has already got them in his pocket. That's what the word says. All the churches there are the woman, the one woman. He only has one flaw. But he says Satan is only angry, enraged with those who keep the commandment and has the faith of Yeshua. So you know who you are. So the harvest is past. The summer is ended. And many it seems, not my department, Yah's department who determines who is saved, but the word is clear, and we can only teach what Yah's word says. And we have heeded his call today to come and to worship him. May we be blessed, and may look at what we have done and write in the book of remembrance our names, because we ask it in Yeshua's name. Amen.